Some time ago, after the E.T. Joshua Airport was closed, a decision was taken tentatively to open back the road across the airport that had existed some years prior. After some investigation that was done on the bridge and its structure, it was determined that it was not suitable to do so at that time. And we had started to issue some notices. One went out to the gentleman, Mr. Lloyd Brown, on the bridge, the guy who operated the bar on the bridge. Mm-hmm. But after the decision was taken not to reopen the road, the other notices were not served to the other parties along the bridge. Sometime after that, when the traffic situation going into Kingstown became untenable, the police indicated that they thought it would be a good idea to open back the bridge. And at that time, the notice to Mr. Brown on the bridge was served. However, the other notices apparently were not served to the other persons because they were not directly involved in the reopening of the bridge. The operations did not hamper the reopening of the bridge. Now that the schools are being built down there, the police were tasked to come up with a traffic plan that would allow parents and public transportation to deliver the students, as it were, to their classes on the compound. The police have indicated that the bridge in its current capacity would not be suitable because the police want the bridge to be two-way traffic full-time so that persons who are coming from Kingstown, who are going to drop their kids at school in the morning, will have to drive around to the roundabout and come down the VG stretch and enter the school compound from that bridge. That is the plan at this point. For the two vehicles to pass, as well as the students to traverse safely across the bridge, a decision has been taken to build a temporary pedestrian footbridge on the downstream side of that bridge. Works are supposed to start shortly. However, for the works to start, several of the structures on both sides of the bridge would have to be removed, including the bar that once housed the Madras Bar, as well as the Davis's Butcher Shop, and the two vegetable stores on the other side of the bridge. It is the intention of the police that the area in front of Randy's Bakery and to the back of NV Nightclub is going to be a 3-lane portion of a road where vehicles that come out from the bridge will be able to turn left to go up to VG or go straight across to Arnos Vale, and the third lane will be for traffic coming from the Villa area to cross the bridge. So as it stands now with the vegetable stalls and the other structures, this is impossible. A decision was therefore taken to serve notice on these individuals, and at the same time looking at the future development of Arnos Vale, where the modern medical hospital, referral hospital, is to go, as well, of course, as the new schools, the E.T. Joshua Center, and eventually our new city at Arnos Vale, a decision was taken that it would be beneficial at this point to remove all of the structures on the bridge. Over the years, we have had complaints from the neighbors in the area with regards to the access to the houses that are down there in that side road, as well as the fact that these structures, some of them are businesses, but some of them are actually residences that persons live in. And if you would have a look at the activities that are carried on there, for example, there are cook shops and bars and so on, all of their wastewater is emptied directly into the river, which is not a very hygienic situation. Over the years, the planning board has served notices on these occupants, and I spoke to the former representative, Mr. Mike Brown, who indicated that at some point in the past that these persons would have had to leave the site when there was some work that was carried on the bridge abutments, and the intention was for them not to return. However, the society in which we live in, we don't seem to follow up on these things, and over a period of time, the people came back. That is what I was told by the Honorable Mike Brown, well, former Honorable Mike Brown, if he's no longer a minister. So the notice was served, and Cabinet, the valuation department went to the site and took measurements of the buildings and so on. Evaluation was placed on each structure. This was forwarded along with a recommendation by this department for payment to these persons for the structure, as well as an amount for loss of income for a period of time until they can find a suitable location to reopen their business. To date, the department is not in a receipt of a reply from Cabinet. So when the folks visited me earlier in this week, I had no word to give them. I made several calls to try to get some information, but I did not get any information, and I still don't have any information as it is in relation to that matter of it. Of course, we're not going to demolish their structure without compensating them. The government does not operate in that way, but as I'm saying, the decision to make compensation does not rest with this department. The decision to make compensation, the amount of compensation, and the form of compensation does not rest with this department. We make a recommendation to Cabinet. Cabinet may consider our recommendation, or there are 13 or 15 of persons in Cabinet. There's only me here. The 13 or 15 heads might have a different opinion as to what that compensation should be. So until I hear from Cabinet, I am not in a position to say how much or what form of compensation it will be. Well, I wouldn't want to say until I get from Cabinet. All I said is that we made a recommendation based on evaluation done by the valuation department, and the loss of income was similar to the persons who used to occupy down at the seawall that was recently moved for the port project.
Okay.
So it was in line with those sort of figures. Well, we have to, the work has to be completed for school. There are 4 structures that need to be removed right now. So the 1 week deadline that the others were given is somewhat flexible. But I don't know when the contractor comes on site if he would need additional space for equipment or whatever. And of course, if it's a construction site, you don't want no contractor is going to come there if there are persons who have access to the construction site, because of course there's public liability that has to be taken into consideration if someone gets damaged during the construction. So all of these things have to be taken into account.